the Fan.
Programming on the Fan and Talker Tuesdays 9 to noon, brought to you in part by Northern Fire Grilling and Barbecue Supply.
Tony Scott, what's going on, my brother? How are things?
Really good. Thanks for having me today, PA. It's good to be here in person.
For sure. Tony Scott, Youth Hockey Hub, State High School Hockey Tournament. It's an annual occasion, 9 to noon. We have Tony in studio with us here to discuss single A tomorrow, then double A on Thursday. And also somebody who's been a frequent contributor to our radio show the last X amount of months, Olivia King.
Yeah, I love that.
You're working with Olivia, Youth Hockey Hub, the Talk Goalie to Me.
Goalie to Me, very good.
Podcast, wonderful, wonderful young lady.
If I could just give her a quick plug, I mean, she came in just kind of a random meeting. I knew who she was. She was Goalie of the Year in 2019 on our website. So I knew who she was and followed her career, obviously. But she came in, says, I'm going to do this podcast. And sometimes these people, they come in and they do things and they come around for a week or two. She is steadfast. Absolutely hard worker. She comes to Bemidji with us for our Friday Night Ice projects, and she's worked her butt off all year. Some of her guests have been amazing. She's had Devin Dubnik, Kevin Gorg, Allie Altman's coming in this week, the USA goalie coach. She's just a great kid and a great hard worker, someone you want to cheer for.
Youth Hockey Hub, where can people find it, and what do you do with Youth Hockey Hub? So
Youth Hockey Hub is a platform, I would call us, because we're not just a news source, which you can get plenty of news from us, whether it's our website, www.youthhockeyhub.com, or you can find us on X and Instagram as at Youth Hockey Hub. But you're going to find youth tournaments, year-round youth tournaments, 6 podcasts a week during the season. One podcast a week off season. It just goes on and on. It's a continuous 365, 24/7 hockey here in Minnesota for kids 9 through college.
Tony Scott, Youth Hockey Hub with, I don't even know these guys' names. And assumedly, I saw it on social media recently. With a couple of players who I think are suspended.
Yeah.
For the A, are they good players? B, are they key to their teams?
Oh yeah.
Like what's happening here?
So the first kid's Drew Sherman. So Drew's dad is Matt Sherman, former quarterback for the Iowa Hawkeyes. Yeah. Great family, great kid, and I think his emotions got the best of him and made some obscene gestures after their victory over St. Thomas Academy, which all the pundits, ourselves included at YHH, did not have them picked to win, and they won it, and I think a little bit of that spilled over. And he apologized within an hour, but still got a suspension from the high school league. That will hurt Rosemount big time. They do have 2 great goaltenders, Abe and Finn and Sam Clements, to fill in for him. They've all had plenty of minutes this year, so I don't think there's going to be a huge drop-off, but Drew is a heck of a talent. And the other one was this kid, Cole Swanson, the Star Tribune Metro Play of the Year's little brother. And I think he's not little. He's much bigger. He's a heck of a talent. I mean, I gush about him every time I can. He sees the ice well. He plays with his brother. It's a fun combination. I think that Hibbing's going to survive a game against Dodge County, but I'm not sure if Rosemount can survive a game against Grand Rapids on Thursday afternoon. Tony Scott, Youth Hockey Hub, by the way, as KFAN goes, is an annual thing. Zach Halverson will be calling the state high school hockey games Thursday through Saturday on either FM 100.3 KFAN or KFAN Plus. So go Zacho, and that'll begin a couple of days from now, despite the high school hockey tournament beginning tomorrow with single A. And from the single A standpoint, what jumps out at you? Like these names, Matamidi, St. Cloud Cathedral, and so on. You talk a little bit about Hibbing, Dodge County.
But what sticks out with single A?
Well, first of all, a lot of streaks, right? There's a lot of the usual suspects. St. Cloud Cathedral, 4 years in a row. Montemita, 5 years in a row, 9 out of the last 10. A lot of these teams have been back and forth all, several times. For me, Hibbing is the team to beat. That's one of the storylines, PA, is can they come down here and win their first title since 1973? They've been one of the best teams. I say double A or A all year long. Can somebody match their offense? Because they'll want to score 5 or 6 goals in a game. One of our podcasters, I think it was Pat McLetty, calls them the 84 Oilers, because they're just so up and they want to get up and down the ice and they want to play fast. They'll be the most entertaining team to watch this week by far.
Delano Mankato West in particular, as a proud Fankato native, tell me about Mankato West and their route here. I know they got a tough one with Delano, but how about those Scarlets?
They beat East on Saturday in overtime as well. So this team has been really good all year. They've beaten a lot of AA teams. Nate Olson is a Scarlet alum just like you. So for me, it's really fun to watch a team. This is their first trip in 10 years to the tournament. Class 3A, the Section 3A hasn't had a repeat winner since like 2011, Nordo. So it's every other year you're getting a new team, whether it's Laverne or Mankato East. It just seems like it's really hard to come back and repeat in that section. Their goaltender, sophomore Blake Brecky, he's got a little brother too, is a fantastic kid. He won the job from a 4-year starter, Mason Schreiber. They go as he goes. They got talent up and down the lineup in all different grades at Mankato West.
My sources tell me with Delano, that Delano has an impressive resume with a win over Warroad and a tie versus Hibbing. Yep. And they have 2 70-plus point scorers. Holy cow. So, all right, I'm not saying Delano is going to beat Mankato West 10-0. However, looking at this, does Hibbing, and I know Warroad's a 3, Delano's a 2, does it feel to a learned high school hockey mind, Hibbing, Warroad for all the money?
I think for me, the Montemita, don't overlook those guys. Those guys have been overlooked a couple times, and that didn't work out so well for Hermantown and Warroad. Yep. So I think that's this real sneaky team. I've been their biggest proponent all year as the best team in the state. They play a AA schedule, a heavy AA schedule. They're tied with Hibbing. Let me tell you, PA, this game had 85 penalty minutes up in Warroad earlier this season. Think about that. That's a lot of penalty minutes distributed, and it wasn't just the players getting after it. The parents were getting after it in the stands with the fans.
That's impressive.
It was one of those games like, I can't wait if that will be one of the best semifinals of the day on Friday, if those two hook up on Friday at 11 o'clock.
Okay, so with AA, the Skippers are the top seed, Moorhead the 2 seed, Edina 3, Rosemount 4. Correct me if I'm wrong here. It came up earlier in the conversation. Moorhead beat Edina in the semis last year, right?
On Friday night.
Right. And
Zach Zimmerman, beautiful goal.
But it was a very tightly contested, emotional game. Fans were getting into it, not physically, but verbally with the "we're from up here, allegedly nobody cares. You guys are glitzy cake eater town."
We never won it before. That was a big thing for Moorhead last year.
Yeah, but I recall that being loud last year.
It was a good game.
So Moorhead, the defending champs, bring back lots of key players from that team. Joey Cullen, a high school hockey source told me earlier in the week, no, actually late last week.
He's not wrong.
Joey Cullen, 10th grader who missed time due to injury, but will be in the conversation for being the first overall pick in the NHL draft in a couple of years. Wow, really?
Really?
Jeez.
I mean, everything that kid touches is gold. So that's why they're my pick to win it. Yeah, Minnetonka came up there and beat them, came up to Moorhead and beat them earlier in the year. That's why they're the 1 and Moorhead's the 2. But Joey Cullen doesn't lose many games. I think I can count on one hand how many times I've seen that kid lose in a game. There's not any other first-round draft pick, projected top 5 picks on any other teams in the AA. I think he will be the difference, and that's why I think Moorhead's my pick to win the state championship this week.
All right, Tony. So hockey with the puck luck and things being tightly congested, even if you're an 8 going against a 1, at certain levels. So I'm thinking the LA Kings winning the Stanley Cup a decade
Correct.
and change ago. And bottom feeders or seeds making life difficult on higher seeds. And here's the point. From Minnetonka 1, Gentry Academy 8, then Lakeville South 7, Moorhead 2. Is it like that in high school hockey where, like one of these bottom seeds, like Gentry Academy? I mean, I remember when you and I first started talking about them right around COVID.
Yes.
I had no idea what it was, didn't know what a charter school was. All I know is they were getting up and down the ice with racehorse hockey, killing people.
That group of kids in 2021 PA had been together for 5-6 years playing youth hockey together. And for me to watch that team play Class A was not a big deal. Watching them win wasn't a big surprise. This group here, there's only 4 seniors on this Gentry team, and a lion's share of their scoring comes from sophomores and juniors. This team will be around for a couple more years. This is not a one and done from the Stars.
With Moorhead and Edina, they can't match up in the state title game, can they?
Friday night they'll
so
play.
It has to be another. Okay, I was kind of hoping for a repeat of the football season.
That
and
would
the
have been
ability
great.
to see them battling for that title. Now with Edina as the 3, what are we looking at from them in terms of their ability to? In this case, if you're hot on Moorhead, they may have to get through Edina, and Edina will have a say in that again.
Well, a couple things about Edina. First of all, one of their top 3 scorers, Dylan Donnie, appears to be out for the tournament. He got injured in the second period in the Wayzata section final. I was at that game.
And Mason West graduated.
No, he's still a senior in high school,
But he's up in
playing
Fargo.
juniors at Fargo. Very good.
That's right.
You're an elite hockey mind.
He's in the Blackhawks organization, right?
There you go. There you go. Well, Dylan Donnie, a junior for the Hornets, is hurt. I don't know if that's going to definitely hurt them if he can't be 100% for the Hornets. That's number 1. Number 2, I watched them against Wayzata. They're really starting to gel right now, and that's a scary thought for anyone in the tournament. When Kurt Giles gets his team cooking, I think they can win a state title. There have been Kurt's had a lot less talent and won state titles with a lot less talent in the past 15 years.
And people tell me Andover's a very sneaky 6.
Under 500, PA.
Right.
Under 500.
But with lots of talent, and ever since we set this up, I've been pining to ask you about Camden Langfield and KJ Sauer.
Yes.
Langfield and Sauer, they could fuel Andover, right?
So Cam's dad played for the University of Michigan, but grew up here in the Twin Cities, went to Blaine High School. And a Sauer family is well documented. Well, I mean, you can't swing a dead cat in this town without running into a Sauer at the rink. I see his dad, Kent, went to UMD. KJ's did. And I've known KJ since he was 10 years old. He's a little tiny kid, but a head taller than everybody his whole life. He's still a head taller than everybody. And now he's tough as nails. He was a little bit soft when he was younger, but he is tough as nails now. That's a really good team. Coach Leopold has joined the team. So that's fun to see. And his son is on the team as well. So I think Andover's got a shot. But Edina's a real tall task in the first round.
Tony Scott, Youth Hockey Hub, KFAN.
So whether it was single A, East Grand Forks wins a year ago, Orono, I believe, was in that third place game. The reason I'm bringing this, Shakopee and Stillwater, part of the conversation. On a year-to-year basis, Tony, you'll see the Edinas and some of these teams, Moorhead certainly, and some of these programs that consistently year after year after year are finding their way to the X/Grand Casino Arena. What is it like covering some of these teams like the Shakopees, and maybe that's a bad example, you can tell me, but I remember St. Michael Albertville had this massive influx of new residents, and there was this period where St. Michael Albertville was just this sports juggernaut.
Yeah.
You talk about Andover, maybe more consistent or at least up and down, but they're back in the mix. Some of these cities where it's like you haven't seen them. You mentioned Mankato in 10 years, Northfield a number of years ago finding their way to the tournament. What's it like covering some of these cities where everything comes together for the first time, either ever or in a long time, and finding their way into the tourney?
Well, that's a great tee up for Rosemount if I've ever heard one, because here's a coach, Ricky Santee, a Rosemount grad, a guy who's built it. His hashtag is build from within. And for years and years and years, the East Side Metro teams, you notice we haven't seen the East Side privates in the tournament.
Yeah.
No Cretin, no Hill Murray, no St. Thomas this year.
Right.
And now we get a chance to see Rosemount hockey in the championship. They were over at St. Thomas last Tuesday, all white youth jerseys, 300, 400, 500 kids cheering on their heroes, the Rosemount High School team. And to see them beat St. Thomas it kind of gave me the chills to watch it all unfold, and to have a team that returned to the state tournament for the first time since like 1992. They played in the old Tier 2 division. They were 4-20-1. This is when Tier 1 and Tier 2, the worst experiment I could ever hear of. They had let basically the NIT they made an NIT for 91 and 92. Terrible idea.
Yeah, my high school hockey source tells me Rosemount, as you mentioned, had a big upset of St. Thomas Academy to make it to state. Another team that didn't play a tough schedule or that tough of a schedule, but showed it's legit, beating the Cadets. Balance across the board in terms of having depth scoring. Lots of kids from 10th, 11th, and 12th grades all chipping in. First trip to state in a long time, and not easy your first time there. So Rosemount...
that'll be their biggest obstacle.
What? The lack of experience?
The shining lights.
Yep.
The banquet, the playing on that sheet of ice. That'll be their biggest opponent. I think they're a better hockey team than Grand Rapids. They beat them 6-rip early in the year up at the IRA in Grand Rapids. But once you get under those lights, and these kids from Grand Rapids were in the tournament 2 years ago. They played on Friday night 2 years ago. They will not be intimidated by the bright lights on Thursday afternoon.
Is Minnetonka re-emerging to a 1 seed? Like I'm not saying, Minnetonka hasn't been good the last X amount of years, but Edina this and Moorhead that from last year, Stillwater, like Minnetonka, how good is it?
Okay, so this team this year has 10 25 plus point scorers. So they don't have one exact superstar, but they got 7 of the best defensemen in the state. And if you ask me, they're the toughest team to beat. They're just grind you out. They want to allow only 1 or 2 goals. They only allow 1 or 2 goals a game. They have one of the best goaltenders in the state. In my opinion, they're not emerging. Minnetonka is like the sun coming up as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
We've had a couple anomalies here when you have Shakopee, who had a great team with Cooper Simpson in the gang last year.
Yep.
But I think they are one of the slow and steadies of high school hockey here in Minnesota. If you look at their youth program, they just sent like 6 teams to the youth state tournaments this past weekend.
Minnetonka, hopefully I'm adding this up right. 7 players with 10 or more goals.
Yeah, and 10,
holy cow!
Yeah, and 10 with 25 or more points.
Oh, geez,
it's impressive.
Yeah,
it's an impressive team. You can't key on any one player on that team. And they have this big defenseman named Tate Hardacre, who will blow you up. And he's got a long stick and a really tough guy to play against.
So Gentry Academy, the 8 in AA. Gentry Academy beat traditional 4 AA powers, Hill Murray and White Bear Lake, correct?
Their toughest game, oddly enough, was against Eastridge in the quarterfinals, if you ask me.
Well, so now I'm being told about Jackson Cook, a 10th grader.
He's a special talent.
33 goals, future D1 player, not super deep, lack of experience, could be problematic, but kind of playing with house money.
Jackson does not lack confidence, I'll tell you that.
Well, this Gentry is an 8.
Yeah.
This should be fun. That's Thursday, 11 in the morning. And by the way, Zach Halverson with KFAN calling all of these games for either KFAN or KFAN Plus. Tony Scott with Youth Hockey Hub is in studio 9 to noon chatting about the state high school hockey tournament, which begins tomorrow at 11 in the morning with Hibbing Chisholm against Dodge County.
So you mentioned Rosemount went up to Grand Rapids, played earlier this year, dominated them 6-0, you said. So these outstate teams, there's no hiding. I mean, whether it sounds like from a scheduling standpoint, that even a Grand Rapids team, maybe not as good as previous incarnations, but there's no hiding just because you're not playing in the Metro, right?
Correct. Everybody goes to Rapids. Everybody goes to Warroad. Everybody goes to Duluth East. Everyone goes to Moorhead. These teams all play each other. There's like a secret agreement among about 32 teams in the state. They'll play each other. They don't want to play Mounds View.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They don't want to play those teams. They want to play their teams in their little clique. But there's conferences who kind of get in the way of that a little bit.
Mounds View is like, what about us?
I know. Well, look at their record. Their record this year. I mean, they had some good teams the last couple of years, but this was a down year for the Mustangs.
Lastly, Nordo mentioned Edina earlier. And my intel indicates advanced through probably the toughest section in the state. Senior netminder Chase Bjorgard is the backbone.
Somehow I had a feeling that was going to come out today.
This isn't, we saved the best for last. This isn't an Edina team stacked with blue chip D1 talent. You mentioned that, like some others, but Edina is Edina and very talented. Edina comes into it as a 3, starting with Andover Thursday night about 8:30. With Chase, so Chase scored, and I've known Chase since he was in middle school. Chase scoring the 6 touchdowns against Moorhead, there's that. Chase can, if you throw him the wrong fastball, it's going 450 the wrong way. I mean, big boy can hit the heck out of the ball.
Yep.
And personally speaking, I think that's what's next for Chase, playing baseball at the collegiate level.
As a hockey fan, I'm hoping he's a goalie.
How good is he as a goalie?
He's fantastic.
Is he?
Let me tell you,
he's supernaturally gifted, because I'm not, like Chase, school and life and personal life and not burning out. Okay, his father, Eric, the general manager of Metropolitan Ford, told me this years ago, is he's very cognizant because his son's good at all these sports. But when the sport's done,
it's done.
He's done with it. So it's not like, okay, let's pump 3,000 into this strength training for football, 3,000 into this speed training for hockey, 3,000 into this with Tom House or John or Jordan Beck, whatever the guy's name is, to learn how to throw a pitch. He's just naturally gifted, but as a goalie, he's really good, isn't he?
So we did a feature on him last year. We followed him around for the entire hockey, football, and baseball season. We have clips of him doing all those sports, and it was fun to get to know him after we'd followed him around for the year. And I sat down with him for an hour or so in our studio and did some interviews with him to talk about all of those things. What blew me away was he never has a break. It's like his break was like late July, early August, that break between summer baseball and football season starting, and then they can't have any football. They can't have any off-season stuff after July 30th. So like from August 1st to August 10th, whereas only 10 days off in an entire calendar year.
That's great intel.
It's unbelievable, right? So here's one thing about Chase's goaltending, and this is true story. He never played hockey in the off-season. Right? Think about all the other goalies all over the state who are just killing it 350 days out of the year to get better at goaltending. He would show up because, my buddies and I, before like Pee Wee tryouts, we would go over to Blake on the Friday before tryouts and we'd shoot some pucks on me for a little bit. That was his extent of training before Pee Wee AA. He wasn't playing on the B teams in Edina. He was on the top team every year, which blew me away. Won a state championship as a peewee, won state championship as a bantam. He is a winner, and if he chooses hockey, some hockey team, college, junior, will be very, very lucky.
Now, at youthhockeyhub.com, wonderful, wonderful work done up to the boys' high school hockey tournament, including BHS 2026 state tournament interviews. And there are a lot of interviews with these players taking part in the tournament.
Every team in the state.
Youthhockeyhub.com. Tony and his group do wonderful work. Thanks for the time.
No sweat. Thanks for having me.
We'll call you soon. Tony Scott, Youth Hockey Hub, youthhockeyhub.com. This is 9 to 9. So, Coach, when it comes to stamping out teams and just getting rid of them when they're ready to be beat, Charles Barkley says that's kind of been a problem with your squad. It wasn't Sunday in Denver. What'd you take from the game, Finchy?
Well, you can feel our focus sharpening right now. Obviously we got a game tonight, so we're going to have to continue. Guys are locked in. Our defense is getting better and better. In a lot of areas where we've been inconsistent, I think we've been really good in the last number of games, particularly on this road trip, namely our physicality, our attention to detail, our rebounding, our lack of fouling. We were good without fouling the other day. I thought offensively, we're doing a good job right now of just kind of playing the game that's in front of us. Every night it might be a little bit different. Obviously, teams are trying to zero in on Ant. Denver did a good job of not letting him kind of play down the stretch by putting 2 on him. And I thought he was outstanding getting the ball out and into, the next player's hands, and we just made the right play.
Chris, when the Nuggets don't have Aaron Gordon, and they've been without him for 2 long stretches this year, You guys are so much longer than the Nuggets, specifically when they don't have Gordon. How much of a difference does that make, not having him against those guys?
Well, I mean, if he's an outstanding player, he's a perfect fit next to Jokic. He gives them a lot of things, gives them length, he gives them strength and toughness around the rim. He's an outstanding multi-position defender, good rebounder, runs the floor, and he's really added the three-point shot to his game. So he's becoming a complete player and an all-around great threat for those guys. And, he changes with his newfound success from the three-point line. He really changes the spacing out there, makes it really hard. But what I think where they miss him most is defensively. Certainly, like he can guard 1 through 5 at times, and they need that guy and that type of guy next to Jokic to really maximize their defense.
And with you guys, Kyle Anderson reportedly back in the mix, beloved slow-mo. What do you like about that?
Yeah, we love it because he gives us, we play him as a point guard here, which is what he grew up playing, and we love his decision making, his high IQ basketball. He's got great length. He's also a multi-position defender, which you need right now. With so many skilled guys in the league, you got to have multitudes of guys who are comfortable guarding smalls or bigs. And, but yeah, just a winner. I mean, he was a winning player. He's a winning person. He just makes winning plays, and it's good to have him back.
The Denver Nuggets took Bones Highland in the first round 5 years ago. Holy cow. Sunday, I mean, he lit them up for 18, 6 of 7 shooting, just 15 minutes. Is it always special for those guys to have games like that against their former teams?
Oh, no doubt about it. It just feels like you see it all the time, Tim Conley was the one who drafted Bones Highland, and Tim's always been a big believer in Bones, and he is the reason that Bones ended up here, and we're very glad that he has, and he's on a path similar to the one that we saw Nikhil. When Nikhil first got here, he didn't play a whole lot. Slowly found his way into the rotation, then made his mark through defense, and different players for sure. But what Bones offers us, we really need. A speedy guard, somebody who can consistently get to the paint, can make threes, he can create his own three, and that's stuff that we desperately needed. So it was fun to watch him. I thought he was absolutely key to our victory because once he stabilized the game almost all by himself in the second quarter, then we kind of took off.
Yeah, people in the crowd at Ball Arena, I mean, they were astounded. I would hear all around my section, that's Bones Highland. We used to have him. Who knew? That's Bones. Yeah. Most impressive to me with Bones this year is he's shooting, I think it's 46.5%. I mean, what's he doing to get the field goal way above his career average?
Well, he's getting a lot of transition baskets, easy ones too. He's an outstanding finisher. He can get an angle on somebody. He's quick downhill. He's long. He's deceptively long, and he's got when he unfolds, he has a nice touch, laying it right in off the glass. He's shooting the ball well from 3-point line too, so that's certainly helping his average. But he doesn't take bad shots. I've always said, like, you want to be a good shooter in the league, the first thing to do is get rid of all the bad shots, and he just takes really good shots.
Chris Finch, head coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves, they have a game tonight against Memphis. More on that momentarily. Is it with the last two, the Clippers and the Nuggets? Is it fair to say the last two you've played that those guys don't want to play racehorse basketball and like zing up and down the court, kind of a slower pace, especially the Clippers? And do you like it that way?
Yeah, I mean, the Clippers are definitely a more deliberate team. They're generally slower. They actually, their defense invites a slow game and encourages a slow game. And they'll run out of their defense with steals and turnovers, but they're not looking to push the pace at every moment. I would say both teams are opportunistic in transition. To your point, they don't really want to run up and down all the time, but Denver is very good when they can get out in transition. Christian Braun is one of the best wing runners in the league, and then you have Jokic, one of the best passers, but he's also a great full court passer and a great transition passer and hit ahead passer. And we were able to mitigate that on Sunday, and that's big. They only had 6 transition points. They're normally more potent than that in transition. But again, it's a lot of it's fueled by Gordon. He's a great runner, and a lot of it's fueled by Jokic, who's such a great passer.
So Memphis tonight at Target Center for the first time without Jaren Jackson after the trade deadline. Mm-hmm. What do you think about tonight? What are some keys tonight? You guys obviously are big favorites.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those games. It's a mindset game as much as anything else. These guys look pretty different after the trade, and with their current roster, they don't have like a legitimate big on the floor. They don't have Jackson, of course, who's been a problem for us all season. And they're going to spread you out. They're going to play fast. They're going to try to get to the paint, kick it out, shoot a lot of threes. They play like high variance basketball. Like their style. If they start hitting shots, then you're gonna be in for a headache because they can really make shots and they play quick and they do a good job of playing for each other in that regard. So we got to slow them down. Got to keep them in front. It's going to be a lot of one-on-one defense is going to be important for sure tonight. But it's about our mindset. We got to back up what we did on Sunday with a good performance tonight at home.
Could be a big one for Rudy tonight, right? I mean, with that size advantage, feed the kitty and put Rudy on a big game.
Yeah, absolutely. And but they're very accustomed to putting Rudy in some tricky situations, which will leave him exposed in rotation. So it's not just being big at the rim. He's going to have to cover some ground on the perimeter, and which is great because we're going to see this style in the playoff a lot, and teams are going to dare us to try to take Rudy off the floor, and we don't generally do that. So but Rudy has to adjust and make the right rotations, rather than just be rooted at the rim where we know he's really good.
And Toronto's here after that. Tough customers at times. These Raptors. Yeah. When you came here from the Toronto bench, and you were a key assistant for Toronto. And Chris, for those who don't remember, became head coach basically middle of the season here a half decade ago. When that went down the way it did it surprise you?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely surprised me. I mean, it's kind of unusual to leave one team as a coach in the middle of the season. I mean, players do it all the time in trade, but they don't have a choice. So the opportunity came, and certainly blessed, and was quite unique. But I always will be forever indebted to Masai and Nick Nurse and all the people in Toronto and ownership, Larry Tannenbaum at the time. Now those three have moved on, but they recognized what a great opportunity it was for me, and they gracefully let me leave and come here, which has been the highlight of my life professionally for sure.
I mean, has anybody else ever done that? I don't recall any examples of a coach leaving a team during a season and becoming a head coach of another team.
Yeah, the only one I can remember was Lionel Hollins did it. I think he left Milwaukee and went to Memphis, right at the start of the grit and grind era.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Lionel Hollins. I mean, you make a reference like that, then we're going to have to reference the big, thick upper body, and he was tough in the key, and like he and Adrian Dantley kind of played the same way a little bit. Remember that?
Oh yeah, no doubt. Yeah, multiple time NBA champion. Mm-hmm. Once with my Sixers and once with Portland, I believe, right?
Yeah, they're your Sixers, but a couple of Sundays ago they were everybody else's Sixers, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no doubt. Right, I didn't feel like it. A couple of
quickies to close here for Finchy, Chris Finch, head coach of the T-Wolves. Ayo and Bones together they push the pace. That adds a little speed to the equation here, doesn't it?
Yeah, we love it. It's a good change of pace. From Anthony and Julius, we're a little bit more deliberate there. Although that unit with the first unit, Dante and Jaden do a really good job of getting out and stretching the floor. But what we love about Io and Bones is they can convert quickly. So it's not just playing fast. They get to the bucket. They can finish. So they take opportunities and turn them into points in a hurry.
Well, last one here. It's a two-parter. I've been a little out of pocket the last few days. Great seeing you guys in Denver Sunday, by the way. But
yeah.
Have you been asked a lot of questions of late about your relationship with Anthony Edwards off the pass the ball walk-off Clippers night?
Yeah, I mean, of course, I've had a few. It's not been too many. I think most people who are in the game understand that these exchanges happen and we move on. I mean, Anthony and I have barely discussed it. We just talked about it a little bit, kind of laughed, and, we're both fine, and, and there's been no residual issue here.
Yeah.
I mean, there was something captured between Luka and JJ Redick the other day. I mean, this competitive environment that we work in, and we're not afraid to share our feelings at the time, and I think it's good when you can have these exchanges and then everything's fine afterwards. I mean, it lets everybody know that we got a healthy relationship because we'll be able to move on, and we've had those types of exchanges with multiple people on the team. It's not just exclusive to Anthony.
So to land the plane on this and the conversation, being a coach, and I'm thinking of you and Ann, being a coach, a teacher, a dissenting opinion sometimes, a surrogate family member, and all of that to a superstar. I'm guessing working with and befriending Anthony Edwards has absolutely been a highlight of your career.
Oh, absolutely. And watching him grow and become the player he has and put the work in and benefit from it. And obviously everybody in organizationally we're benefiting from it. But as anyone will tell you, like, everybody wants to be coached, myself included. Like, I want feedback on things that I can do differently or better. And that's just, that comes with an environment and a level of accountability. You can't be afraid of your best players. Like, you can't be afraid of your best players. I don't think any coach, that's trying to win at the highest levels or create a culture of, coaching and accountability is going to shy away from being, from coaching his best players. I've always thought you're only going to be as good as your ability and your willingness to coach your best players. And the great thing for us is our best players are highly coachable.
Finchy. Wolves Memphis this evening. Wild Tampa Bay Lightning this evening. That one's on KFAN. As those teams approach the playoffs and hopefully are formidable in said postseason. KFAN Sports Talk Time, 11:45. Back after this.
It was the Talker Tuesday, 9 to noon, via the free iHeartRadio app, Northern Fire Grilling and Barbecue Supply. I asked, if I told you that the Vikings would add Kyler Murray to the quarterback room, what you think? Well, a bunch of talkbacks we've already played. Here's a few more before one of you walks away with a gift card.
Hey guys, Max from Egan here. For me, Kyler Murray is the best option for this team because he's the youngest option. If we get Aaron Rodgers, if we get Geno Smith, and JJ doesn't turn out to be the guy, we're in the same boat for next season. Kyler at least gives us a chance for next season, and he can develop because he's only 28. And also, right now, I'd say Kyler Murray is a better quarterback than JJ McCarthy is because JJ just hasn't proved it yet. So that's my take.
Appreciate you, bud. Meanwhile, big hitter Shefty, Adam Schefter, ESPN.
Yeah.
He tweeted 6 minutes ago, the Minnesota Vikings are now open to trading Pro Bowl edge rusher Jonathan Grenard.
Whoa.
Per sources.
Okay.
They would like to keep Grenard, but they also have salary cap issues they're working through that have led to these trade conversations. That's from Shefty. Darnold out of the shotgun, 4-man rush. He's hit again! He's sacked again! And the ball came out! Dive on it, Vikings! Come on! The ball is bouncing missing about at the 45. Seattle recovered it back at the 45-yard line. So that's going to be a loss of 8 yards. That is Darnold's 6th fumble this year. He's lost 4. He had no idea where Dallas Turner was coming from. Dallas Turner, though. Talkbacks. Any left?
Indeed.
Hi, this is Andy from Minneapolis. And Kyler Murray would be an unmitigated disaster. Think of a Josh Freeman situation. I know KOC is the quarterback whisperer, but you need to yell at a Kyler Murray, not whisper. It would just not work.
So we've played a handful of those today.
Yeah.
From what you've seen with the voluminous amount that came into the free iHeart audio app, would you say a majority of them are Kyler, yes, Kyler, you know, or in between?
The majority of them, I would say, are no, thank you, including, to put a wrap on a Talker Tuesday, somebody's walking away with a Northern Fire Grilling and Barbecue Supply gift card, $25 for being the tastiest talkback on a Talker Tuesday. This was an interesting take. Here's Damon.
Hey, Nordo, PA. Damon from Princeton here. I believe that Kyler Murray will be coming to Minnesota for a couple of reasons. One, last few years, the Vikings have brought in a punter to compete with Ryan Wright. So Kyler Murray would be perfect throwing up all those punt passes. And the second would be is we can get him on a vet minimum, so the Twins might decide to sign him because he's a heck of a baseball player as well.
I always love that one.
I mean,
how does that lose?
That is next dimensional thinking.
Well done.
And that's why Damon's a winner today. He gets $25 to Northern Fire, northernfirebbq.com. With the jokes and all of that, the Call of Duty, right now, just taking the temperature of the Vikings fan base, kind of negative on the idea of Kyler Murray, whether it's the fit, it's what we know from afar, attitude-wise, et cetera, the complexity of the scheme. But I wanted to dig into that a bit via the talkback machine this morning, PA.
It's hot. I mean,
very hot.
I didn't realize till I was flying back from Denver yesterday how real people felt the Anthony Richardson situation at the Combine became.
Yeah.
Maybe it is real. But, I mean, you got decent names tied to it, like, hey, think about this. It's just so much. Geno Smith's in there. We just heard Aaron Rodgers mentioned.
Well, see, the way you went down the road with Geno during Gessling, I know we're running out of time, but that kind of tells you it's Max from Egan, and he mentioned, and he was prescient about it, kind of the idea of I want the youngest guy, and I mentioned that too, kind of the idea of if this works, that's a long-term option.
Yep.
But if you were to go with a Geno, maybe that lends credence to the idea that 9's going to be fine, that we have not lost touch with 9. And so therefore Geno or another Derek Carr wrangling him out of retirement, that would potentially be the short-term option while we watch the kid continue to grow.
Thank you for the good times on this Talkback Talker Tuesday. Thank you very much for listening, if and or when you do. Nordo produces, and I'm Paul Allen. May God bless you and all of your families. And thank you for listening to KFAN. Have a great day.
Making a way when you can.
Temporary layoffs.
Good times.
9 to noon.
Credit rip-offs. Good times.
Scratching.
The game is over. Good times.
And that's a fact.
Good times.
Now, what did I do wrong?
We got 'em.
Personal foul. Clipping.
Good times.
I know, right?
If it's good news or money, leave a message.
Podcast today's Paul Allen Show, or listen back to previous show and interviews by going to the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.